How are you doing today, though?
I was having a great weekend till last night.
Oh, but guess what? Hey, welcome back, Jenny.
Thank you.
Back. You finally are off the hook. You and your man finally have the excuse that you needed. We don't have Rondo. It's over. It's okay.
Yeah, whatever. You know good well that's not going to fly.
Here we go.
So you were feeling good, Shannon, until that breaking news last night that Skip alluded to, and that is that Rajon Rondo has fractured his thumb during practice. The Lakers guard is expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks, according to reports. So, Shannon, how big of a loss is this for LeBron?
Well, Skip, it's a big loss because we'd already lost Avery Bradley. Remember, Avery Bradley's playing about 25 minutes a night. Rondo plays 18 to 20 minutes a night. So that's 45 minutes that we've lost. Avery was a starter. Rondo comes in with the second unit, and he was one of the few guys, Skip, that could get the offense going. And that's something that LeBron James has struggled with in his playoff career, that when he left the court, finding someone that can initiate offense, that can keep the offense flowing when he sat down. And so, Skip, this is going to hurt. The playoff Rondo, Skip, is real. He's one of the few players that once the playoffs roll around, his points, his rebound, assists, those numbers go up. There are very few people that can actually say that come playoff time, when the games are heightened, when the intensity is heightened, and people are playing for keeps, his number increases. So it's definitely going to hurt. I think the thing is now, so you're going to ask Caldwell Pope to play a couple of extra minutes. You're going to ask Danny Green. They did add J.R. Smith and Dion Waiters. So I think that lessens the blow somewhat, but none of those guys are what we call point guard position. That's what Rondo is. Rondo is an old-school point guard. Rondo is a Jason Kidd, John Stockton type of a point guard. He's more looking to distribute the basketball than score the basketball. Now, he was taking some threes, Skip. He can get to the basket, but that's really not his game. His game is to get everybody else involved in the offense. So, Skip, that does hurt. It says he's expected to be back 6 to 8 weeks, so meaning theoretically he could return the second round of the playoffs, Skip, but it's not looking good. And if I'm not mistaken, Skip, he's hurt this. I don't know if it's the same hand, but he's had this injury before. So this hurts. This hurts a lot. But we won't be deterred. Ain't no, hey, Skip McMahon and Whitehead said, ain't no stopping us now. We here. We here. We don't do no excuse. We're not in excuse biz. We get it done or we don't. And don't is not in our vocabulary, so it's getting done, even shorthanded.
So, help me out here, Mr. Sharpe, or as I call you, Shannon Sharpe. Haven't you told me for 4 straight years that your man is the GOAT?
Yeah.
And for 4 straight years, I've waited to get struck by lightning right through the ceiling because you can't go there when we're talking about that man in Chicago, that ghost, as LeBron calls him.
Should.
Okay, so if in fact he is the GOAT, how could you be so upset about the loss of an Avery Bradley or a Rajon Rondo? How could you really care about 2 guys who are just guys, who are the equivalent of barnyard chickens and pigs? They're barnyard chickens and pigs when it comes to the GOAT.
So in other words, you're saying they're just garden variety. They're just players.
They're both garden variety, and I will make this case right off the top. I will give you Avery Bradley. I will not give you Rondo. I do respect Avery Bradley, and will give you it's a much bigger loss than Rondo because Avery Bradley was a starter.
Yeah.
Avery Bradley has made the all-defensive team twice in his career. Avery Bradley was the difference maker in the one game you did win against the Clippers when he made 6 threes and he made 4 just in the third quarter while LeBron was scoring a grand total of 0 in the third quarter. Yeah. And he tilted the playing field in favor of the Lakers. So that guy you might miss quite a bit. This guy you will not miss at all because we're talking about, as you just detailed, the backup point guard, correct? Why should the GOAT need a backup?
Man, stop.
No, seriously. Okay, let's talk about the real GOAT, not the phony GOAT. Go back. I dare anybody out there right now. You can Google this. Go back and look at the roster of the 1998 Chicago Bulls and show me the backup SG as in shooting guard. Show me of all the players listed on that roster, who else was an SG besides that guy? You know how many were SGs on that roster? None. There was no other listed shooting guard on that roster because he did not need a backup. He did not have a backup. Nobody ever even thought about, well, who's going to come in when Michael needs a rest? He didn't need a rest.
So in other words, I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. He played 48 minutes every game, every round of the playoffs.
He played 40-something every game, and in the game of his career, the walk-off game of his career, Game 6 at Utah in 1998, as we saw in The Last Dance just recently on ESPN. In that game, he played 44 minutes. He scored 45 points. That included the steal that led to the game-winning jump shot over Brian Russell at Utah, that just opened and then closed the mouths of all the Utah fans.
Okay, he played 44 minutes in that game. So the other 4 minutes, they were playing with 4 players, or did they have someone to come on the court and fill that role?
Nobody could fill that role.
Skip,
They would let Scotty try to bring it up and play.
Skip, he led the team in assists every championship that they won. He led them in assists. What do you mean?
They didn't really have a point guard because everybody brought it up. Well, Ron Harper brought it up.
Scottie Pippen was considered the point forward. You know that. He led the team in assists every championship that they won. That was not Michael. That was Scottie.
I just want to remind everybody that Michael Jordan played 82 games, all 82, 9 times, and he played 80-plus games 11 times. LeBron James has played 82 games 1 time in his whole career.
Right.
And yet, now is his time because he got the all-time basketball gods break. The basketball gods said, let there be championship number 4 for LeBron James. Here, LeBron, we're going to hand you an unprecedented 5-month break before you have to play another game as your season winds down, which is your 17th season.
Hell, he had it to everybody else, too.
Okay, but who needed it more than that guy, the faux 23?
No, he didn't, Skip.
You needed it more than that guy.
You saw the way he was playing.
He played great, but he was on fumes. And God knows, in his 17th year, he was highly susceptible at that point to some sort of groin pull. And the God said, no, you need a big break this time. You need a pandemic break. You need a quarantine break. And he got it. He got the break of his life. He got 5 months between what's virtually the end of the regular season. I know they're going to play 8 games, just like practice kind of games, just to get back in the groove a little bit. They've got a 5.5-game lead. Do you think they're going to lose it without Rajon Rondo?
No.
No, they're not going to lose it. The Clippers would have to go 8-0, and they would have to win only 3 games.
Right.
Okay, even if they won 3, I think they would still win it.
Well, Skip, they still have Caruso. Caruso does play the point a lot. Quinn Cook, he might be called on. But, Skip, I just think the thing is that you were hoping to go into everybody was hoping to go in at full strength. Everybody's saying, okay, we got, as you mentioned, we got 5 months off. And then one of our guys decides, says, you know what, my health and my family is more important. I'm not coming back. And the other guy, the first day of practice, breaks his thumb. So for me, Skip, I mean, that's not, no one anticipated that. Everybody says we're healthy. We're as healthy as we've been. And then one day in the practice, you lose that guy. LeBron has had this before. You remember? Now, just imagine if Jordan would have lost Scottie and Dennis Rodman at any point in time in the playoffs. They're not winning that championship. If he had lost...
I don't know about that. With that guy, he was a dynamo. I've never seen anything like it before. I wouldn't have put it past him at all.
I would have put it past him.
So, again, we're talking about winning the finals without 2 stars. Because they just lost Kevin Love and then lost Kyrie just before overtime, in overtime of Game 1.
Correct.
They went up 2-1. I appreciate you bringing this up. They're up 2-1. Game 4 is in the King's Castle.
Right.
It's in LeBron's house in Cleveland, Ohio. And I'm thinking, LeBron, this is going to be your greatest achievement because those were the Golden State Warriors before they were really the capital W-A-R-R-I-O-R-S.
Yeah, that was 67 and 15.
They still weren't sure who they were because they weren't sure about their rotation. They weren't sure how good or how great Steph really was. And what happened? He started shrinking, as he often does in the playoffs. And all of a sudden, LeBron had them on the ropes and on the run because nobody could guard him. It was the greatest stretch of his basketball life. You know it, and I know. Those 3 games, he got a little bit of help in Game 2 from Little Delly. He went to the Deli counter.
Exactly.
Right? And Deli made a play and a shot at the end of the game. He did. But LeBron was stupendous. He was, dare I say, goatish in those first 3 games. He put that team on his broad shoulders and said, here we go. I'm going to dribble this ball until there's no air left in it, but I'm going to pull this off. He played point guard. He played point forward. He played center. He played everything. Yeah. And it was one of the all-time masterpieces until Game 4. And then Steve Kerr made the move of moves. I guess he inserted Iguodala into the starting lineup.
Stumbled upon it.
Maybe he stumbled upon it. But Iggy took that guy, and Iggy started making shots, and Iggy scored 20 himself in Game 4. And LeBron went, what was it, 8 of 22?
Yeah, he had like 22. He didn't have many.
Yeah, and he made 4 of 8 free throws and was like 1 of 8 from the three-point line. He had a bad game. And I was told on the other show I did by many of the analysts, he ran out of gas. I thought he was in the best shape of anybody in basketball because he spends $2 million a year on his fitness.
He does, but nobody is playing at his intensity, is required to do what he does. Now, remember now, as you mentioned, yes, he's playing point guard, but he's also having to defend. He's also having to run the entire offense, bringing the ball up every single time, doing all what he was asked to do while playing 45, 46, sometimes the entirety of the ball game.
Okay, so let's look hard at who is Rondo and what is Rondo. Do you realize he's on his 6th team in 7 seasons?
Yeah.
What does that tell you? A lot of people just say, no. No. Why is that?
We know he can rub some people the wrong way.
He rubs people the wrong way. He does not defend unless he really wants to or needs to. He can't steal the ball. We know that. But as an on-ball defender...
No, that's not what he is.
It's just not in his nature. And his three-point shot, dare I say, comes and mostly goes because he can be and mostly is a liability of a shooter.
Right.
Am I right?
Yes.
He knows how to play. He's a shrewd operator. He's a tough guy. We know that. And he has averaged the 4th most assists in playoff history. Averaged the most. It's 9.3 assists.
Right.
Twice he has led the playoffs in assists. With about 12. He had that one big run 2 years ago in New Orleans where he averaged 12 assists. And he went, I think he had some 14 assist games. But the point was that that's what he does. So what do I always tell you about your guy? He's the best point guard in basketball. Right. And if he's the fitness freak that you always tell me he is, now that he got 5 months off and he's got 8 practice games to get ready for a playoff run, and it's possible Rondo would come back after the first-round series. What's the problem here? Because he doesn't really need a backup in the first round of the playoffs. Can't he play 40, 42, 44, 48 minutes a game if he has to?
No.
Why not?
Because, Skip, nobody plays that many minutes. Jordan in his prime, look it up. He never played 46 minutes a game. He never played 48 minutes a game. You're pushing the upper threshold when you ask a guy to play 42 minutes a game. So, Skip, we saw what happened. LeBron was playing, I think, Kyrie's last year. He was playing 42, 43 minutes a game. They would be up 11, and LeBron, by the time he got to the bench, got the towel, dried off, wiped his head, had a drink, they were up by 2. So he was only getting 90 seconds of a rest time. So, you know, in the playoffs, that's when teams look to make their runs, especially when the starters leave the court.
Okay. What else do we know about Rondo? He is so often hurt. He is incredibly injury prone. Do you realize that's actually, this will be the 3rd, I assume he's going to have some surgery.
Yes.
The 3rd surgery on his right hand, his shooting hand, his dribbling, his strong dribbling.
You need to drink some milk or something.
Well, I don't know what's going on because he fractured the 3rd metacarpal. This is back in 2018 on his right hand. Then he tore a ligament in his right ring finger on his right hand. Now he's broken the thumb on his right hand. So that's 1, 2, 3rd. Which one's the 3rd? The middle, I guess. Okay. So it's 3 in a row. Thumb, forefinger, middle finger.
Right.
He's broken all of them. What does that tell you? That's weird, man. And that's just in 2 years.
Right.
Well, so his right hand has become his Achilles heel, right? Okay, so how can you depend on him? How can you trust that he's really going to be there? And he's so headstrong that I'm not sure he's the best teammate anyway when push comes to shove and it starts to get really stress-filled in the playoffs.
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, obviously, you know, he feels very comfortable. He says, like, look, I've studied you, giving me the game plan. Because Doc Rivers would give him the game plan, says, okay, Rondo, you run it. And, you know, Skip, I think the thing is that when you're trying to establish yourself, he's playing with veteran guys. He got KG. He got the truth, Paul Pierce. He got Ray Allen. And he's, you know, they're big three. He's like, well, let me finagle my way in here, make it a big four.
And he fought constantly with Doc Rivers. And he got thrown out of team film sessions, and he stormed out of them.
Right.
And he was just, ask Doc, he'll just be on, he was difficult to coach.
Yes.
And who was the first player to either, whatever, he posted something about, I'm in the Motel 6 here in the bubble, right?
Yeah.
Motel 6?
Yeah.
People all across this land have lost their jobs, and he's posting about, I'm stuck in a Motel 6?
Right.
We're in a pandemic. It's so disrespectful, but that's Rondo. That's what you're going to get from it. Well, seriously.
Skip, I get it. And people look at it like, well, but Skip, there are some people that's used to living in Motel 6 that's got to go to shelters now. So there's like, man, a shelter. Okay, there's equivalency to this. We can't just start blowing people up because that's the, I mean, you go from, Skip, think about it. LeBron James is going from a $40 million house. So I don't care how elaborate the penthouse is. It's not what he's accustomed to. It's not what these guys are accustomed to.
But none of us are doing anything remotely like we're accustomed to. Am I right?
We might not be doing what we're accustomed to, but we're living where we're accustomed to living.
Okay, kinda, except we're washing everything in and out the door, right?
Yes.
We are spraying, we are scrubbing. It's different now. Everything's changed for everybody, and you have to just make peace with it and go on.
And plus, a lot of these guys got to do things on their own now.
Okay.
Most of these guys have people to do things for them, so now they got to do all that for themselves.
I think people are waiting on them hand and foot 24 hours. Just pick up the phone and you can have anything done. Just say, I need my laundry done or whatever.
They do
right?
have 24-hour concierge.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Which brings me back to the player they call the Caruso.
Yeah,
Alex Caruso.
Yep.
I'm going to give you this. He and LeBron have a little something going on. It's a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of rapport, a little connection.
Yep.
I don't really get it, but they feed off each other pretty well because I'm looking at the numbers per 100 possessions. They're a plus 20 point, let's call it plus 21. That's hot.
Best in the NBA.
Okay, that's very good. And when Rondo played without LeBron, the team was minus 6.8 in overall margin.
So real plus minus is GOAT James, right?
Well, real plus minus, it should be GOAT James, and we shouldn't even be having this conversation. But I can actually make the case that Rondo's a little bit of addition by subtraction. Like, I don't know that you need him.
We need him.
To do what?
To do what he normally does in the playoffs.
Give LeBron 4 minutes off?
No, because, Skip, you do realize that normally they started together. They would start the second quarter together.
Okay, I don't know how or why because I would not play them together. Again, without Avery Bradley, now that brings into play JR, brings in Deion Waiters. I get that. KCP, a little more of.
Danny Green.
Okay, Danny Green, a little more of. You can up their minutes a couple each across the board and make up for Avery Bradley. But in the end, is Anthony Davis still okay? As far as we know, he's pretty good, right? Is JaVale still there? And in a little bit of a surprise, I wasn't sure Dwight was going to be there, but is he still there? And he's a force for this team coming off the bench. So are there enough pieces to go win this champ? Sure there are.
Yeah, see, there you go. See, you done changed the argument. I didn't say there weren't enough pieces.
You were poor-mouthing this. You were saying, oh, woe are we.
No, Skip. We lose two guys that play an average of 45 minutes between the two of them. One's a starter and one is the first guy off the bench. So obviously it's going to hurt. So let's just say I don't know who the starter would be for the Clippers. So let's take the equivalent of Avery Bradley off the Clippers and then the first guy off the bench, which is who? Sweet Lou Williams. You think they miss him?
Sure they would.
Okay, would.
And they almost did miss him.
Okay.
I think he was on the fence 50-50 play or not play.
So there you go.
Okay, but I think he's going to play. As far as I know, he's going to play. Other than that, you know, it's like Avery Bradley was a starter. I think some people are surprised to even find out, oh, he was a starter?
Yeah, ain't nobody surprised. You see, you being over dramatic right now. Oh, Avery Bradley's no one. And now you just told me Avery Bradley saved the day. Now you, remember.
I just told you he's more valuable than Rondo is, especially for how they play basketball with the GOAT, with quotes around it, as you call him. as the leader of the team. You don't need a Rondo. He's the best point guard in basketball, and he's the fittest player on earth.
You just said the man averages the 4th most assists in playoff history.
Okay, but you don't need that. You've got the best point guard in basketball. Who would you rather have a point guard, LeBron or Rondo right now? Well, obviously it's
You need
LeBron.
backups.
You don't need backups.
Yeah, you do.
He's the youngest. How old is he? 34 now? 5? What is he? 34?
Who, LeBron?
Yeah, I keep thinking
35.
I keep thinking he's 43.
He's 35. Don't worry about it.
Remember, Jordan was 34 in that final go-round in 1998. 34 years of age. He played all 82. He made first-team all-defense, and he led the league in scoring at 34.
If I'm not mistaken,
do it, LeBron. Suck it up and go.
If I'm not mistaken, that was year 13 for him, right? That's year 17 for us.
Okay.
And we've already got 20,000 more minutes on our wheels than him.
Yeah, but Michael didn't spend $2 million a year on his fitness.
Yeah, he spent $2 million on cigars.
No, he did it with grit and grind.
Man, stop. Hold on. So what was Tim Grover? I just need to know, what was Tim Grover in this equation?
He did it for free.
No, Tim Grover does not offer services for free. Not even for Michael Jordan, even though Michael is cheap.
He didn't get back rubs and shiatsu or whatever he's getting. I don't know what he's getting.
All you try to do, you try to minimize the man. We're going to be okay. We don't make excuses, but it is a loss. We lose 2 guys that's playing 45 minutes, and we'll see. They're gonna throw the ball up in the air in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and we'll see.
Shannon, you weren't going to beat the Clippers with Rondo, so who cares?
So when we beat the Clippers, then what? Oh, it's cakewalk. If LeBron don't win this will be the biggest. So you'll find something else because you know it's going to happen. You know we're going to beat the Clippers, and then you'll find an excuse.
Yep. You have no excuses, and you get no excuses.
Okay.
You got the GOAT.
We don't want any excuses.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.